But I got to ask another question about, well, obviously I'm not asking another one because I'm interviewing you, but Paul Heyman, now it's been under my opinion because no one's opinion matters more in ECW than mine.
Oh, okay.
That it seemed in a way that he fucked it all up and that he had this, like, there's a rumor I heard about when ECW had this video game and the deal he made was that the company made zero profit from it so that the game would get made for publicity. And then you hear all these other stories of how he wouldn't hire staff. He wanted to be the head of every department and do while trying to compete and write and produce. So do you think that in a way maybe Paul Heyman was the reason for ECW's downfall?
I've never heard what you said about the video game. That I never heard, which is odd because I work there. So there's so many stories when I do these interviews and somebody else says, oh, did you hear this one? I haven't. It's weird. You know, I still don't have closure to why the company went bankrupt. I don't know if any of us have the real story. The story that I heard, which confuses the hell out of me, I heard like Billy Corrigan offered to buy it from Paul for $1 million and Paul declined. And another company, I can't remember, they offered like 2 million or what, and Paul declined. In the back of my mind, I say to myself, did Paul not want to sell the company because it's Paul's baby? Because think about it, if he would have sold it to Billy for $1 million, right? Billy still would have been owing people money because it was more than $1 million that we lost, right? He would have saved so many jobs. There were so many people that were working under Paul. Now, you mentioned the staff. He had a right-hand woman that helped. Her name was Debbie Beaumont. She did a lot of odd jobs, but as far as a writing team, it was mainly Paul and Dreamer. You know, Tommy took a lot of responsibility backstage. The boys chipped in. You were allowed to speak freely. It wasn't like a Vince McMahon thing where you're afraid to approach him. Paul was very approachable. He would take anybody's ideas. He would listen to you. Maybe he turned around and laughed behind your back, but he still gave you the attention. He made you the center of the universe. Paul was really good at doing that. He was really good to me. Business-wise, money-wise, something was off because you had a crew that came in every single week, and for the longest time our checks were bouncing and we weren't making a dime, but still we were like a bunch of soldiers fighting for the company. We didn't care. We just went in, we did the towns, hardly made any money. And I remember, like, I never took a draw. A draw is when you take a little extra money in cash and then you get it deducted from your check. I never liked to take a draw because I liked it all in my check, and that way I would get the check and I would pay my bills. I remember Tommy saying, you better start taking a draw because we're not making any money. We're not getting checks. So then I started taking 100, 200 from the merchandise table because that's where the money was, at the merch table, right? To this day, people will ask me, well, what was the demise of ECW? Was it Paul? I don't know. I was never told exactly how it went down. So I can't tell you what it was. All I do know is that him and Vince had a working relationship, and Vince was giving us money for our pay-per-views. Now, a pay-per-view, I think, cost about $250,000. We did, I think, 21 pay-per-views. So add it up.
$20 billion.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.